Hello and welcome back to Factorio Tightening the Belt Megabase Guide. I'm Xterminator and thank you for joining me here again. Today we're going to try to work on getting some processing going for preparation for nuclear power. Now, this is quite a process and there's going to be several things to walk through, so that's probably what most episodes are going to be spent on, but if you don't know much about nuclear, then I hope that it will be helpful, because it can be a bit of a lengthy and complicated process if you're not familiar with it. So first things first is we need to actually make some concrete, because the few parts we're going to need here, for example the first one being a centrifuge, does actually require concrete. It does require other things of course, but we already have those made, but it is going to require 100 concrete. So that is the first thing that we need to make. Now we don't actually need a ton of production for it, because if we look here, you actually get 10 of it every process from 5 stone brick and iron ore and water. Now we have water here and we have iron ore here. This would be perfect. The problem is that we don't have stone brick except for way down here, which is a bit unfortunate. Our layout for like where our water is and stuff is really not great. It's pretty limited. So what I'm actually going to do is I may either use robots or hand carry it. Like I said, we don't need a huge amount of it right now. So I think what we're going to do is first try not to get run over. That would have been bad. And I think we're actually going to build it. There's actually water right here, and this guy is not being fully utilized. So let's actually pull off of, we can pull off of him, and I'm just trying to figure out a decent-ish spot. Let's do it like here. Actually, let's bring this down first, because we'll just use this iron line until we need it. We'll obviously need it for smelters and such, but for now we can just utilize it for this, and I'm just going to run it right there, and then do something like that, and he's going to make concrete. Now these do take water, again, so the assembling machine is going to have this liquid input, and these guys will just do, I think we'll just do something like this. And then connect and connect. So this is going to take iron ore, is the other thing it does require, and then it requires stone brick, which we can just get from here. Now I could actually space these out more and share them, and I think, well, it really doesn't matter. It's not like it's a huge deal to use some extra chests here. It's not perfect, you know. I could have spaced these out more so they could be in the middle and share, but really I'm not that worried about it right now. So it's just kind of a quick setup, but I mean it will certainly work, and I mean it'll get us a good amount of concrete until we run out of whatever stone brick I bring it. Now we do have stone here. We could make a little stone brick, but that is, I think, a bit more effort than it's worth at this point. So let's go ahead. We're just going to underground this so that this guy can turn and come through here. It's not clean by any means, but it's temporary. Fairly temporary, and it will work. So this is something you can place to the stone brick. If you, I haven't really covered this. If you take it, you can place it down, and it will create path and make you run faster. And you can tear it up if you right-click with this out. You can tear it up. You can't tear it up any other way. Your deconstruction planner, well, your deconstruction planner will work, but like you can't normally right-click it. You can see here while I'm right-clicking, and it just doesn't do anything. Now I want to clear this, so if I hold shift and left click, it's going to draw this blue box, get rid of the deconstruction, and I'm just going to pick it up. Now this works for concrete too, and you can also increase your brush size with your plus and minus keys, either on your numpad, I believe is the best way to do it. So I can go up to that big, which is huge, and then I can go all the way down to 1 tile if I want. So that's how you do that. Just a quick note there. I'm control clicking into this chest, so it's not placing it. And there's that. So he's gonna go. Like I said though, it's gonna give us 10. Now it does take 10 seconds. I could throw speed models in here or something, but you know, it can just crank away on its own. It's not that big of a deal. And that's one component. So then also after that, we're going to need some red circuits and some steel and gears. So we just need to collect some red circuits. Now, these centrifuges, you can see there processes uranium ore and splits it into uranium-235 and 238. So uranium ore is stuff, and you mine it. Now, one main difference is you actually need sulfuric acid to mine this. Unlike any other resource in the game, it uses a normal miner, but it does require a liquid, sulfuric acid, input into the miner, which will work the same way as the assembler, so get a fluid input when you place them over uranium to actually extract it. So you will need to somehow get that to your mining outpost, which you could do with barrels. I'm probably just going to put a tanker wagon on my uranium train. I mean, this uranium is almost close enough to belt, in all honesty, but it's a little far to pipe. I'm not really wanting to pipe sulfuric acid all the way up here. So we could do like a little mini train or something that's in kind of an awkward spot, unfortunately. There's another one up here. But, I mean, this really, I could just belt this uranium in. The problem is getting the acid up there. I mean, maybe I could pipe it. That is quite a long pipe, though. Okay, so let me make sure I do have 200 of those. Let's grab... we're going to need a bit of gears. I really should probably turn on a gear machine again. But it's actually probably fine because we have gears we can just grab either off the belt or over here. So... the centrifuge is going to take this uranium, and that's the point I was trying to get to. It is going to take this uranium, and it's going to, I'm going to get some more steel, it's then going to split it into two types of uranium then. It is 235 and 238. Now, the part that we want for nuclear is the 235. And this is the bit that is going to be hard to get. Well, we want 235 and 238 because we need those for these fuel cells, right? These uranium fuel cells is what we're going to actually use for power in our reactors rather than coal or whatever it may be. But the thing is, though, with these is that it's a very small % chance to actually get this. If you mouse over this process, uranium processing, which is what we're going to do in the centrifuge, you can see it takes 10 uranium ore, but we only have a 0.7% chance of actually getting the 235 and a 99% chance of getting the other stuff. So it takes quite a while to get any. However, there is a way to then get a lot more of it later, but you kind of need an initial like stockpile of it to work. So the other process, which I don't think we can get, it's very expensive, but it's this Kovarex enrichment process. And Kovarex, a fun fact, is actually the founder and lead developer of the game. So they named it after him. But this Kovarex process allows us to do two things. One, it allows us to get nuclear fuel for trains and vehicles, which is way farther down the road, but super awesome and terrifying. But also, it allows this process. And what this does is this gives us an extra, essentially extra free uranium-235 through this process. So you can see what down there is it takes you input, you put in 40 uranium-235 and 5 uranium-238, and then you get out 41 235 and 2 238. So essentially, when it all comes down to it, when you just go down and calculate it all out, you're essentially spending 3 235 to get one, or two, sorry, you're spending 3 238 to get 1 235, right? Because you're losing 3 of the 38 and then you're gaining an extra 35. And this is a fairly lengthy process, so you will want to set this up in a pretty large scale. Now you cannot productivity this, however you can productivity this process, which we will want to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab any concrete we have. See, we already have like 300 almost, and we're gonna make 2 of these. It's not much, but it'll get us started. We don't have uranium yet, obviously, but I do want to show you this, and I think we can just do it. I was gonna say in here, because I think we're gonna, if anything, we're gonna expand this up, not down. Let's think. So uranium, I could either train or belt down. Either way, in here I think would work. This is a decent spot. Not like, we don't need it like on the main bus because it doesn't need anything except the uranium to work. So let's go ahead and get these guys down. And these are some of my favorite, the nuclear graphics are like some of my favorite things in the game. These things look amazing. So let's go ahead and place these like over here. They look even better at night and like when they're working because they glow green and such. It's super cool. But we're gonna do this. Now, I'm trying to think how to say this because this is where it gets a little bit complicated. It has been made easier with our ability to prioritize these splitters, but this is a little bit complicated because, and again, I'm trying to think how to word this, is you have to be careful with this because, well, not this process, sorry, this process is simple. I'm confused. This process is fine. It's the Covrex process, which I have that in my mind because that's like the end goal that I really want to get to here. So that's kind of what's in my mind right now. But this process you have to be careful with because when and you'll see better when I build it, but like you export the 41 of the good uranium, the 235 that you get, but then you need to realize that it requires 40 of that in the machine again to even do another process, right? So you need to like get it back in and make sure you don't export too much of it so that just the one gets sent further down the line and the other 40 gets put back in to do another process. And you want to also be able to supply it with the 235 or the 238. So it gets a little bit complicated. I have a design I made a while ago in my last map, my Sending Support Space map, that does still work, and I'm going to start with it because it's what I know, but I think we can probably modify it to make it a lot simpler with the priority on the splitters. My design does use some combinators, which will be a good opportunity to kind of explain some combinator stuff and show some simple, good uses for them. But this setup is actually very simple. I was getting them confused. So we're going to just take in uranium, and then it's just going to spit out almost entirely the 238 because there's only a 0.7% chance. But what we can do is we're just going to put them on the same belt because this here is a good example for the priority splitting, right? Is because now we can just go in here and we can just say output left, let's just say this, and we'll actually go right because I'm going to build the Covrex above this. So any of the good stuff that we do get is going to go out this side, and then everything else, all the rest, is going to go out. Now you may be thinking, well, that's great and all, but what am I supposed to do with this crappy uranium that I'm getting almost, that I'm getting 99% of the time? This can be used, and this can be used for uranium ammo, which is really nice. There's also this process where you can recycle fuel cells, but further down, uranium ammo, there's normal ammo, there's cannon shells, and there's explosive cannon shells with uranium. And these do a lot more damage than piercing rounds. And it's just a piercing round in one of the 238, right? So you can do something with it. And then again, it does, like, the fuel cells do require this as well, right? I mean, the fuel cells require 19 of the 238 and one of the good stuff. So you do still use it. And those piercing shells are actually, those uranium shells are actually, like, insanely good. Like, probably better than lasers until you start getting infinite laser turret damage. They're really, really strong, especially in like a tank, because last I checked, the tank and maybe the car, but definitely the tank, like does double damage with bullets. So it's just even more ridiculous. So what are we missing to make some more of these? Because I will want some more of these. All right, because the more you have working, the more, the quicker you're going to get the good stuff. Mad Zuri, who I've mentioned previously, he is like a super expert at the game, has done just tons and tons of research and gameplay. He calculated out that you need, I'm trying to remember the exact number. I'm not trying to quote him because I'm probably off, but I think he said somewhere around like 51 or 59,000 uranium processed to get the initial 40 that you need to start this Covrex process. So you need to process essentially like 50 some odd thousand uranium on average. This is an average, of course, 1,000 uranium to get this good stuff, to get the 40 of this that you'll actually need. So it's quite a bit. Now you don't have to do the Covrex, right? I mean, if you're getting the good stuff, and give me a second, my washer's about to take off. Oh my goodness, sorry guys. All right, we're back. I apologize. I swore I would have been done before that started, but my washer is super loud. I had to close my door. Anyway, so you don't have to do the you don't have to do the Covrex because you may once in a while get the good stuff, the 235, and you can then turn that into fuel cells if you want. But the problem is you're probably going to run out. And that's why the Covrex is important, because, this takes 1. And sure, you do get 10, but these guys, I'll go into it more when we build a nuclear setup. But the one thing about fuel cells that is different than any of the other fuels in the game is that the fuel cells in the nuclear reactors are consumed regardless of if you actually have a power draw. So like this, if I cut off power and there's absolutely nothing drawing power, these boilers are not going to burn fuel. They're just going to sit there, right? But however, with the nuclear reactor and the fuel cells, even if it's entirely off, even if you have no power drawing from it whatsoever, the fuel cells are still going to be used if they're in the reactor. They're just used at a constant rate, right? So you're probably going to end up running out of these, and then if nuclear is your sole power source, you're going to have some real problems unless you're lucky enough to be able to get this 235 just quick enough from this process to be able to sustain it. But let me actually move this, and we'll start with 4. For now, we'll build some more as we can. Let's go ahead and get this going. And again, filter, not that, that's the pure uranium. Send this up top. And then this stuff will just, I guess we'll just box up for now. I don't have the ammo unlocked, and I mean, there's no use making fuel cells yet, so I'm just gonna box them up. Let's actually use a steel chest, just because we're probably gonna have a lot of it. Let's do that. And we'll get some power poles being made. I really do feel like I could definitely belt this uranium. I'm trying to debate with myself here if I want, if I just want to try to pipe this sulfuric acid up. It's a really long way. But for now, that's going to be probably quite a bit easier than setting up a train. Like, I can always set up a train later, right? But to get this started, because to mine it, we need, not that. Actually, yeah, that's not the right thing. We'll have to see. You'll see when we place a miner over the thing. So, I mean, we can go set up the miners, and I can show you that bit. I'm just going to pick up all kinds of odds and ends here that I'm out of. How about some gears? Some gears would be good. Let's get some circuits, some copper, and how about miners? How are we on miners? We do have a fair bit, which is great. We do have belt as well. So let's hop in our car, and I'm gonna hopefully get up there without hitting anything. So hop in our car. Also, we need to go over to that oil outpost because I never actually put defense there. I realized after last episode. I never put the defense down. And also, I do want to mention and apologize that I guess my last couple episodes, my audio has been desynced a bit from the actual footage, which is a mystery to me because I'm lining it up how I always have, and I'm pretty sure I was syncing it. But I'll be more careful about it and hopefully not have that happen anymore in the future. But let me know if it does, because, it's hard for me to tell sometimes. So definitely good when you guys let me know. And then also, I meant to mention this like 4 episodes ago, and I just got too distracted with the gameplay. But the blueprints for a lot of stuff are on my website now. I have the circuit blueprint on there. I have the standard smelter blueprint on there. I have the red circuit blueprint on there. And I have, there was another one too that I don't remember. But I put another one up there from this series, I think. And then also the save file should be up on my Patreon, and it should be public at this point. So even if you're not a patron, you should be able to grab it. And it is, it's using a Google Drive link. So when I upload a new version, it just puts the new version to the same link. So I'm going to try to keep that fairly updated. But if you want a save file, you can grab it there. Okay, so when we mouse over this, there's an amount, and it gives us the normal stats. But then down there at the bottom, you can see requires 1 sulfuric acid per mining operation. And this is much more clear. It used to be a bit more confusing than this. But so essentially just 1 sulfuric acid per cycle of mining, which is very minimal in the scheme of things when you realize that, we get 50 per one of these cycles. So this is 50 ore essentially. So these guys, which is really cool, this is my second favorite graphic. When you put this over uranium, it totally changes, which is just amazing. I absolutely love the minor graphics for uranium, because they just look so cool. And then when they're working, so you input, so this liquid. Okay, the yellow arrows are the solid, the uranium output, and the blue arrows are the liquid input. And the nice thing about these is they will actually connect to each other. You can see that these are actually connecting to each other. So you can only, you need to only put liquid into like one end, and it's just gonna do it throughout the entire chain if they're connected like this, which is really nice. It would be probably near impossible to do a decent setup if you had to like connect a pipe to each individual one. So we're gonna connect this up. And really we don't need like a ton of this because, you know, this process takes 10 seconds. It's not super quick, but we'll probably get more of this. But anyway, so that's how that hooks up. So I think we'll try it. We'll try to pipe it because it is such a minimal amount. I'm not sure how it's gonna work. I have a feeling it's probably not gonna be the best thing ever. But let's throw some power over here too. And so there's connections on all three of the sides that are not outputting ore. So you have options. So I could run a pipe along the whole back, but there's no reason to, and it will disconnect there and be fine. All right, now I clearly, obviously, do not have enough pipe for this. So we're kind of snapped, I think. No, we're not. Okay. New plan. If you take the car out, or pick it up rather, and then place it back down, it snaps to a grid until you actually like move, like turn when you're driving. So if I don't turn, I'm probably gonna end up hitting something. But if I don't hit the turn keys, then I should. That one's a little wonky, that's fine. I should be able to drive in a straight line. And I'm out of pipe. Just in time because, as I suspected, we hit something. That's fine. So let's go back and get some more pipe. And then we'll hook that in. I will want a tank for this sulfuric acid, just because pulling straight from the machine in this case probably isn't going to work great. Oh, that's power. And a tree. I'm just hitting everything possible. Alright, let's turn here. Let's set up a... How about let's not kill the pipes. That would be a good first step. Okay, so we could pull uranium from this, or not uranium, sulfuric acid, which I think I will do because, I mean, it's right here. I don't know where this is going. Oh, the blue circuits, right? Well, yeah, why don't we just put a tank, like, here? Just put a tank here. Oh. Okay. It's a little awkward. There we go. So it's just gonna go through a tank, and then now I can go out that end. So let's go ahead and grab some pipe. We'll bring that up. We'll want to run some power up there as well. And we'll get the uranium going. These guys are still doing nice. Let's see, how's our power? Power is good for now. And pipe. We're gonna want, I don't know, how far did we make it? This is probably enough, honestly. Because we only had like 30 and I just grabbed 70. So, I think we should be good. Alright, let's go ahead and hook him up here. Now, I doubt this is going to line up with the pipe I was placing. But it'd be wonderful if it did. Man, I don't know, maybe we'll get that lucky. And I'm actually just going to run, I do have this, oh. Well, so much for that. I'm going to just come over. I do have this exoskeleton, so I am running a bit quicker. And it may be easier than just trying to drive, because I'll hit stuff. The power's not going to come any more to the right, because that's already a full setup. So this is not going to be in the way of the power. And this looks like it's going to be pretty close to lined up, but not quite. Oh dear, am I going to run out? I may run out. I think we have like another half stack after this. Oh, it's so close, man. Alright, let's see how far we can get. This is going to line up. So close. Alright, that's fine. How about cancel those? We have some pipe, and we'll do that. I clearly forgot to connect something somewhere. And I want to fix, I'm not sure if this borked what I was doing here. Yeah, it did. Alright. Let's connect that. And then power, we can run some power down from here as well. So, you know, I could have done a train and a fluid wagon along with stuff is pretty cool, but we'll do that in the future. I just want to get some uranium going. Get this process started since, like I said, it is probably going to take a while to get the stuff that we need. And I'll probably productivity, maybe speed it. Eventually we'll get into beacons, which would help a lot. When we get there, I'll explain kind of how those work, but they would help a lot. I think we can actually make beacons, but we don't have the power for it. Because one thing with beacons is they do make the power consumption quite a lot more. Similar to how modules do. Okay, so that takes care of that. I did forget a piece of pipe. There we go. And we now need to run a belt. I have quite a bit of yellow belt. I'm going to come from the outpost this time, just so I get the belt somewhat right. And yeah, so we should be getting uranium, which is going to be awesome. Probably should have driven the car up here. I don't really trust myself to drive the car while placing the belt, but... Alright. Almost there. I'm glad this part's not desert. That would really be slowing me down. And we're here. Alright, so I'm just going to start like this. And you can see these guys are going. Mining, they have the little fluid inputs, which is awesome. And this is actually working to pipe it. There's not a ton of throughput and pressure, but like I said, it doesn't really need much. And what we can do to speed ourselves up is we can run on the belt while placing it. Kind of like how we drive the train and do the rails. Works quite well. I had like 600 belt. I hope that's enough. I'm not actually sure if it will be. Now, back before the 0.16 update, placing long stretches of belts like this would be this would be pretty ill-advised for lag reasons, but with the update, with straight belts, they combine, what they did with the optimizations is they have it like combine, like belts that aren't interrupted by inserters or whatever, or splitters, they have essentially combined into a section of, I believe, 200. So like a stretch of 200 straight belt without any interruptions is actually only counting as one belt as far as the like game processing power is concerned. So these long stretches like this are actually not bad whatsoever, really, aside from just using a lot of belt. So this is all facing the wrong way. Typical. Hey, let's turn those, and it's gonna output. Oh no, that is where I wanted. You idiot. Sometimes I wonder, man, I am really tired. And so what we need to do then is actually just input this like that. There we go. Luckily the uranium hadn't gotten here yet. We beat it here. And there we go. So that's going to output, and I'll probably make off camera, I'll make a few more of these. Uranium is very far behind. I don't know exactly where it is. Up here somewhere. This belt isn't really the quickest thing in the world. Yeah, this is way up here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoop up a little bit and put it in just to show you the process and then end the video because I don't feel like waiting for all this. And we've been about 30 minutes, I think, so I'm just gonna scoop some of this up. And this does take 10 uranium for this process. So it's not the best conversion rate because you're only getting one of the bad stuff that you have a 99% chance for. You're still only getting one of that out of the process for 10 uranium input. So, gonna do that. See how these light up? Man, it's so cool, like when it's really dark out. Did this just... I thought it said it was out of fuel. So yeah, this is super awesome. You can see there, boom. So we're getting this stuff, you know, of course we didn't get the other thing because we have almost no chance. We'll just box this up and he's gonna run. These take 350 kilowatts, not a ton of power. They do have a little drain. This is just going to process, and we'll just let it run. And I'll add some more. One last thing I would like to do here, because otherwise I know I'm going to forget. And I'm doing this, like, I'm doing this on episode because I literally will forget, like, within the next minute after I stop the episode. So we need to do this now while I'm remembering. Let's go ahead and input that. We need some fuel for this guy. That's going to be a really important thing. And just a couple undergrounds. And like that. And I think we can actually, yeah, perfect. So that will grab there. You can see the little hitbox, so we know it's gonna get that, and then like that. And there we go. So these guys will now have fuel, which is good. And I think we're going to call it there, guys. I got the uranium processing started, and maybe off camera I'll do research for the Corex process or something so we can work on that. I'll see what I can figure out, but as always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Any questions or comments, leave down below. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.